First up on today's show, I am joined by editorial board member and Pulitzer Prize winner Dorothy Rabinowitz, who's here to talk about the GOP primary victories last night for Mitt Romney and those other guys who are still hanging around in this race. Welcome, Dorothy.
Well, thank you. You sound a lot more cheerful than Mr. Santorum must be feeling today.
Well, indeed. So Mitt Romney won a sweep of Wisconsin, Maryland, and D.C. in the primaries last night. He's got the overwhelming majority of votes so far in the race. Is he now the presumptive nominee?
Yeah, he's got something else now. On the basis of last night's speech, he's exuding a kind of wonderful confidence. I don't know if anyone has noticed this, but that was the best post-event speech I heard Mr. Romney give. And it proves that expansiveness and happiness opens up deep channels in you of what you should already have. He talked about America for the first time in a way that didn't feel tight and scripted, and not that one didn't believe him before, but it had the exuberance of a genuine passion. Genuine passion is what Mr. Romney needs, and he got that last night.
Dorothy, you know, I'm glad that you brought up Mitt Romney's speech, because one of the things he talked about was the government-centered society that we've come to have under President Obama. But he didn't just label it a government-centered society. He linked it to everyday life. He said, when you attack business, and this is a quote,
yes,
and you vilify success, quote, you are going to have less business and less success.
Yes.
Is this something that he hasn't done in the past, been able to make this connection from top-level policy to the effect on the individual? Or is this something that you think he's been doing pretty well all the way along?
That's really a very good question. I was asking myself last night, watching this, I said, what is the difference? I consulted the only person present, my dog, who could give no answer. But I thought, this has a unique cohesiveness and a pointedness, and I thought, has he got a new scriptwriter? Or has it all come together suddenly, the way things suddenly do when there's an absence of anxiety, when something good has happened? But you could only hope on his behalf that this worked. Every line he uttered lived, which is not nothing in speeches. Every line sounded as though you want to hear more. And I think he could do that again. And you have to contrast this with, of course, the depressive cast of Mr. Santorum. You could hear not only in his desperate sounding call to George Washington and crossing the Delaware and the battle. It would have been better to talk about the Battle of Gettysburg, since after all he was appearing in Pennsylvania, but be that as it may, the audience could not rouse itself from its torpor. His most dedicated fans were groaning with him. That's when you know that death is closing in.
Well, that's quite a statement. We're talking to Wall Street Journal editorial board member Dorothy Rabinowitz about the GOP primary. Rick Santorum, however, also said last night, it's halftime. You know, let's get out of the gate and have a great second half. So it doesn't sound like he's giving up. What do you think of this strategy to keep the campaign going? And should he keep it going until his home state of Pennsylvania?
There must have been something wrong with that choice of words, because it literally made me laugh. I walked around thinking it's halftime and just felt moved to giggle, because there is an absurdity about this claim. If you count the numbers of delegates that Romney still has to have, technically he is still a long way. And I know that this is what Santorum is thinking, but no one in his right mind believes that the game is half over. The game is fully over.
Well, Dorothy, does he risk losing the political legitimacy and capital that he's built up within the Republican Party by staying in this race?
Yes, I think he does. And, you know, there are many people on the air, serious, sober commentators like Charles Krauthammer, who said, look, he's got a great future. He could walk away now and say, my own view is he does not have a great future. As long as Mr. Santorum continues to say and believe the fundamentalist things he says, he's going to have a problem. But he cannot help himself by being this other person who says, I believe in myself, we will go to the end, the fight is not over. Because the sense of unreality and the passionate stubbornness that this betrays, unlike let's say Newt Gingrich, who has faded willingly, and
but he's still in the race.
He's still in the race, but he's just muttering, you know. But I understand the difference in their status and everything, but to make yourself as conspicuous now an obstacle as he is, it's going to do him no good. Now, in politics, we have short memories, so he could probably get
very
past
briefly,
this.
about 15 seconds left.
And I don't think it's a good idea, and I think it's all over, and Mitt Romney is going to go off and flying for wherever it takes him.
Well, we'll have to leave it at that. Dorothy Rabinowitz, thank you so much for being with us. We hope to have you back on again
Thank you,
very
Mary.
soon.